So the Accidental Collection is exactly what it sounds like. There was never meant to be an extra Silmarillion to my series. I didn't expect to do a collection, so this series was never meant to be a series. It was always meant to be just one book. So we did call it the Accidental Turn series because, you know, it was a bit of an accident that it became a series. This is an accidental collection because there was never meant to be a collection. I just couldn't stop writing. And because I have these two characters in the series, Kintyre, who is the hero of the original fantasy series, and his sidekick, Bevel, I wanted to tell some of this story from their point of view. They're used to being the heroes. They're used to being right all the time. They've never been wrong in their lives. They've never been written to be wrong. And I found it a very fascinating challenge to start writing a story where they realize that just because they're the main characters, that doesn't make them right all the time. So this is a piece of that story. It's one of the novellas called Ghosts. And in this story, or in this part of the story, our hero, Kintyre, kind of think Kevin Sorbo's Hercules, and the sidekick Bevel, yeah, you can think of Aeolus if you'd like, have come upon this town named Gilshire, and they have found out that all the children in this town are being controlled by a ghost, they think. So at this point, they have convinced a young man named Toma to lead them to where the ghost resides so they can roust it for the town. This is the first time I've read this out loud, so please be forgiving. Oh, also, sorry, one more thing. This is from Bevel's point of view, so now I'm Bevel. Toma leads us to the back kitchen door and out through a small cobbled courtyard where the laundry is hanging and raised boxes cradle his mother's herb garden. A bustling festival mood has gripped the main street where villagers, in what appear to be their celebration best, travel in pairs and family groups toward the ruin on the hill. It covers the sound of our footfalls as we slink down the alley between a small stable and the neighboring row of shops. In the distance, over the wooden roofs of Gilshire, I can see that they've lit a bonfire at the apex of the knoll, and we slide past yet more revelers on our way around the corner. I realize that each household seems to be carrying with them an unlit torch wreathed in fresh meadow flowers. Fire Flower Festival, I remind myself. Whatever that means. Fire Flower Festival. We take more back alleys and squeeze through fence slats, following a circuitous route that only makes sense to the boy. Finally, we arrive in an older, crumbling part of town where the houses lean against one another like limping beggars, and the square is frosted with the refuse of what appears to be the butcher's market. The breeze gifts us with the odors of old meat and blood, split marrow and bowels. Kin scans the square, but all the houses appear empty. The festival has pulled away all the residents. That's an unexpected blessing. In the center of the square, bathed in auspicious and melodramatic moonlight, is an ancient yew tree. Its circumference is at least twice the span of Kin's arms, and the light from above filters through its creaking branches, casting the well tucked into the lee of the thick trunk into ominous shadow. The wall of the well is crumbling, lopsided, and rough. It would come to Toma's waist if he was standing beside it, and it seems the roots of the tree have crowded it so bad that the ground around the yellowed stones has buckled and heaved, shoving the well into a motley array. Of course, it's right out in the open, Kin grumbles. We stop in the last patch of shadow afforded by a narrow alleyway before the exposed air of the square. Kin leans against the wall of the building and scratches the back of his head, thinking. I settle in beside him, watching the well warily while Kin is distracted, as I always do. One of us has to remain alert and ready. She's in there, Toma says, rather pointlessly, as that much is already obvious. He steps out of the slice of shadow and thrusts his finger at the well. Yes, I hiss and drag him back. Thank you, Toma. You can head home now. What? The boy yelps, his eyes large and wounded. I don't want to have to wrestle with a child having a tantrum right now. You've been very helpful, I say quietly, crouching down to meet the boy's eyes, and we thank you. But things are about to get dangerous, and I think that your mother would be happier if you were not here when they do. Thoma's brow wrinkles. Dangerous, he repeats. There's a ghost about, Kin says, and he speaks with a tone that makes it clear that he thinks Tama is a stupid child. Tama is grown up enough to take umbrage with being spoken to in that way, though, and puffs out his chest. I ain't afraid, he insists. She ain't scary. Kin makes a sound at the back of his throat that I know is muffled disbelief, and then covers it with a cough. All the same, young Master Toma, he says, you'll go now. No, I won't. Toma brandishes his twig sword. I'm a hero, and I ain't scared of nothing. He waves the toy in a wide arc, and I have to duck to avoid its swing. It's stupidity and bravery like this that gets people killed, and I'll be damned if I'm going to watch it happen to a child. And it's not for the innocent, the uninitiated, the small, and the weak. I have stood beside too many graves and attended too many wakes, mourned for too many of our companions, than I can count on both hands. I will not attend one more. As the boy flails, chest thrust out and chin forward, I grab his wrist. It's harsher than I should have been, but I'm annoyed. The boy yelps and drops his wooden sword. It clatters against the cracked flags, and both Kin and I suck in a breath at the volume of the sound. The world goes quiet. Tama whimpers. Kin and I scan the area, ears open, eyes darting. When nothing jumps out of us, at us, I uncurl my fingers one by one, slowly enough not to startle the boy. As soon as he's free, Toma yanks his arm out of my reach and cradles it against his chest. The skin's red, but there's no bruising. He looks betrayed. You're mean, he hisses. You're not nice, or smart, or courageous, or anything like the stories say. You're terrible, and you're stupid, and I want you to go away. We'll go when the ghost is destroyed, Kin hisses. Tama gasps, eyes bulging, and takes a step back so swiftly that his narrow shoulders slam into the brick wall. No, he says. The word is freighted with such horror that I whip around on the spot, to see whatever is coming up behind Kin, but I find only empty air above Kin's shoulder, and I turn back and look at the boy, wondering if it's something only he can see. That's when I realize that his gaze isn't trained on some invisible creature over Kin's shoulder, but Kin himself. Toma sees a monster, but it isn't the ghost. No, Toma says again, and this time he takes a step forward, glaring. I won't let you. Let me, Kin snorts. He looks as if he's about to palm the boy's forehead, to hold him away and out of punching range like a schoolyard bully. I shoot Kin a warning look, and Kin heaves a sigh, crossing his arms. Monsters often enchant their human slaves into loving them. Love means that the slave will sacrifice themselves to save the creature or betray the people who have come to rescue them, and that means Toma needs to leave. Go home, I say. Please. He crosses his arms in deliberate imitation of Kin, mulish. No, I like Mandakin. I won't let you hurt her. A sharp blast of grave cold air rushes through the alley, and I groan. Perfect, I mutter. You said her name.